Well, hello, everybody. My name's Jonathan Alferness. I lead up some of our mobile ads products at Google, including AdMob. We're incredibly excited to be here today at Google I/O to have the opportunity to talk to all of you. A lot of you in the audience, I'm guessing, are app developers, and you've been through a series of just enormous changes in this space. The mobile app business, heck, the mobile businesses aren't even that old. And yet we constantly see changes in how users are interacting with devices, how they're engaging in mobile applications, and it has a ton of implications on these businesses that we're building on top of these experiences. So we're here today to talk a little bit about the changes that we're seeing in the industry, the best practices, and how you can all best take advantage of these changes, and the tools and technology that we're building at Google across a whole number of different areas to make it easier for all of you as app developers to find the right users, to bring them into your experiences, to engage those users, and finally to monetize them in the ways that make most sense for those users, for your audience. So it's clear that there have been tremendous changes in the mobile app economy. And to call it a rapidly shifting market is itself an understatement. In the last 12 to 18 months, we have seen enormous change that's brought us from a world in which most consumers were either buying paid apps or downloading free apps that had ads, to a world in which there's a lot more complexities. In fact, the first one is underscored by users. The first change is underscored by users themselves, because it's the users in this world that vote with their thumbs. They're the ones choosing the experiences they want. And what we're seeing now is more than 90% of the apps being downloaded are free apps. And these aren't exactly like the free apps that were being downloaded 18, 24 months ago, right? These are much richer monetization models that have ads, yes, but also have things like in-app purchase. And I think, as no surprise to many of you in the audience, especially any game developers in the audience, the second fact is that in-app revenue has grown enormously, right? These are in-app purchases that help users continue to play games, to download customizable content for their experience. And what we're seeing is a dramatic rise in in-app purchase across a whole section of the audience, across a whole section of users. And last, and because of these other changes, app developers are understanding that it's not just volume, right? The conversation I'd have with app developers and marketers 18, 24 months ago was one around, how do I drive as many installs as possible, as cheaply as possible? I want volume. I want to get to the top of the app charts. But today we understand that the users that you acquire, the users that you bring into the experience themselves, it matters who they are, and it matters what lifetime value. What are they going to return to you in that experience over the lifetime that they use your app? And what makes a lot of sense is that what app developers are interested in here is ROI. Look, I'm willing to pay whatever it costs to bring in a user as long as that user spends more, returns more to me in the experience than I paid for them in the first place. There's a lot of sophistication under here, but the underlying theme is that users matter. And the more that we can pivot around the user and do the right thing for the user, the better the experience we can build, the better the monetization we can build. Look, apps are here to stay, right? That's why you're all here. That's one of the main reasons, one of the big reasons we have Google I/O. Apps make for incredible gaming experiences on mobile devices. Fluid, immersive. I mean, we are talking the kind of quality gaming that you had on consoles not more than 2 years ago. Apps make things like Messenger and email clients better, and apps make all kinds of experiences from retail and e-commerce types of experiences all the way through to the more than 6, I don't know, maybe 7 apps I used alone on my way getting here to Google I/O. I used Gmail, I used our Messenger client. Let's see, I used Uber to get a ride down here. I used the Google I/O app itself to figure out where I was talking this morning. And that just names a few, right? Apps are clearly here to stay, and we continue to see this huge growth, not just in the number of apps being downloaded, but the number of hours spent by consumers in apps, right? The engagement in apps is going up significantly. And with that, this number shouldn't be too much of a surprise. We expect $35 billion in app monetization in 2014 alone. Right? This massive usage has consequences. It's a pretty nice consequence, $35 billion. And this also drives more and more competition. Everybody wants a slice of this $35 billion pie. So what we're going to talk about over the next 30 minutes or so is what all of you can do to better set up your chances so that you have as good a chance as possible so that there is a level playing field to basically vie for that pie of $35 billion. So what are the challenges that app developers face in building businesses in this new mobile app economy? Well, we think that there are three main challenges. First, as we talked about at the beginning, you need to find the right users, the high value, the high lifetime value users who will engage in your app over and over again, who will return dividends back to you as a developer. Not only do you have to find, identify, and get these users to download your app, but you need to engage them. You've got to excite them. You want them to continue coming back to your experience time and time again. You want them to engage. And once you've done that, once you've built this virtuous cycle, you need to find ways to monetize those users. And the monetization piece is undergoing a fundamental change where it's not just one monetization solution that fits all, but it really depends on who the user is and what the user is willing to do in your experience. And based on that, you should be presenting the user with those right monetization opportunities. Underlying all of this, we believe that the more that all of you embrace a single unified platform, the easier all of this becomes. The easier it becomes to track and understand the value of your users from acquisition through retention to monetization. And the thing that's interesting is that many of you are developers, you're coders. You could certainly build these tools yourself. But I would argue that your time, your energy is better spent creating the differentiated experiences that are the apps, that are what you guys build. It's your bread and butter. And that's why at Google we are working incredibly hard to build a suite of tools, of technology that creates this underlying platform so that all of you, large businesses, small businesses, hundreds of developers all the way down to one or two, can have an equal chance to fight for the monetization, the $35 billion that we talked about earlier. So let's break it down. How do you find the right users? Well, in the gaming space, we talk about our high-value users, our engaged users, as whales. The idea is that it is a small percentage of users who engage so highly and spend through things like in-app purchase that they often make up the vast majority of revenue that a game developer sees. But finding these whales, finding these engaged users, is often challenging. At Google, we've been working across our AdWords stack, from search through display and YouTube, to give you tools so that you can cast a very wide net across hundreds of millions of users, but so that you can identify the most high-value users for you, for your experience. We're giving you tools so that you can cast that net, you can find your whales, and you can bring them in without becoming Captain Ahab yourself. So on the search side, you heard a little bit of this from Sundar yesterday. We are doing a ton to make app discovery easier across our entire set of search products. Sundar talked about deep linking in the organic side of search. We've done a lot to make app discovery itself a lot easier in search. But we've also done a tremendous amount of work on the search ads side of the world. So what you see up here is a AdWords search ad for app install. This one's for Hotel Tonight, a great partner of ours. And what we're doing here is we're bringing in insights from Google Play. We know what users are doing on Google Play. We know what they're searching for when they go and download Hotel Tonight. So we're bringing those same insights to our search ads advertisers, our AdWords advertisers. And we're suggesting relevant keywords that will drive not just a volume of downloads, but a volume of highly qualified downloads. YouTube and video are a tremendous channel for growing awareness and for showcasing to users the really exciting things about your app. And we see this happening organically already. Tons of game developers are already leveraging YouTube as a way to show to the world what it is that their app does. And on YouTube, we have this great advertising channel known as TrueView, which are these 30-second pre-rolls that are shown before videos, but they put the user in control, right? The user has the ability to skip the video if it's not relevant to her. What we're announcing now is the ability to take any TrueView ad, to attach a TrueView companion for apps, so that those users watching the ad, watching the video about your app, can take action right then, can engage and download and install your app from right within YouTube, from right within that video. This is going to be a great channel because we have pre-qualified these users. They know what they're getting when they download these apps. Last, but certainly not least, we have AdMob. AdMob has been an incredible channel for driving app install for the last few years. We've driven millions upon millions of installs through in-app ads. We've done a lot of work here on ad formats. We've got a lot more work going on the interstitial side of the world, on video, click to download. But we've also done a lot of work on targeting. And as I mentioned earlier, we're bringing in insights from Google Play to help us find the right users in the AdMob network. The example we have behind us, imagine a developer who has a photography or an imaging app. That developer wants to find highly qualified users who will download their app, engage, and use it time and time again. I mean, it costs money to acquire users. So we're bringing in insights about the users that we have on Android. What apps have they downloaded already? What apps are those users using? So the example behind me, we can narrow that down, that wide audience down to a set of users who's already downloaded, installed, and engaged in various photography, imaging, video apps. We're already seeing that this is delivering much higher conversion rates to advertisers who are adopting this technology. So that's acquisition. It's easy enough to spend money or via organically find a lot of users, bring them into your app. But it's just the beginning of the story. The next thing you have to do is you have to excite those users. You have to engage them in your experience. I mean, it's not installs that matter, but it's really time spent in your app. But before you even get there, oftentimes, if you think about it from a funnel perspective, start at the Play Store. There are plenty of opportunities to increase conversions, increase your downloads at the Play Store itself. This is why we've taken the powerful visualization technologies from Google Analytics. We've brought them into the Google Play Developer Console. And we can now show you what's happening on the Play Store. You get to see how many users looked at your app listing. If they looked at the app listing, did they download the app? If not, maybe you want to try some different images. Maybe you want to try bringing video to the Play Store to showcase the app further. But there's a particularly scary stat, because maybe a lot of users have already downloaded your app. But what we know is that 80% of apps are downloaded, installed, and run once. Just once, and then they're deleted. They're never run again. So re-engagement, bringing users back to your apps, is a critically important piece of this puzzle. We're doing an awful lot here as well. So again, Sundar talked about some of the deep linking efforts that are happening on the organic side of the world. We're bringing this to ads as well. The example I have behind me is for a search ad for AdWords advertiser for Hotel Tonight. And the idea, the premise is very, very simple. You've flown into San Francisco, Google I/O, but strangely, you didn't have a hotel reservation, and you're an avid Hotel Tonight fan. So you search for Hotels San Francisco on Google. Because Hotel Tonight has taken advantage of the deep linking technology that we have in AdWords, they're shown as the first result. They're shown as the top commercial result for the user's query. And when the user clicks on the ad, not only are they brought back to the Hotel Tonight app, but they're brought back to the right place in the Hotel Tonight app that shows relevant listings for Union Square in San Francisco that's only a half a mile away. Now, that's a powerful way to re-engage your users and bring them deeply back into your experience. Of course, it works on AdMob as well. In this particular case, you can imagine a user is in the middle of some entertaining experience. And Hulu advertises to them in an interstitial. Come back. You're a big Deadbeat fan. We know that you have more episodes to watch in your binge session of Deadbeat. So when you click through on the ad, you're not just brought into the Deadbeat application, or into the Hulu application, excuse me, but you're brought deep into the Deadbeat results. It's just the beginning of some of the ways that we're stitching together not just search and apps, but really the web app continuum. And we're also finding more ways to weave users through their paths in apps alone. You're going to see a lot more here, but this is going to become a mainstay in how users think about the experience, and I think in about how all of you think about bringing users back to your apps as well. So ultimately, it's about monetization, right? You've worked very, very hard to build a strong audience, to engage them, excite them, keep them coming back time and time again. But the key piece is monetization. How do you earn more in this world? Well, it's getting complicated, and there's more and more hybrid models that are growing. Remember, we've talked a lot about how it's about the user, and you want to deliver the right piece of monetization to the right user at the right time. And we're going to talk about how these hybrid models get built and how you can all leverage our tools to build them more easily. But before we do, what we thought we'd do is to break down the three pieces, the three atomic monetization elements as we see them, and talk a little bit about them in isolation. So first is e-commerce. Any of the retailers or merchants that I have in the audience today will know that this has been a very, very fast-growing segment of the overall mobile apps business. It's taken us a little while because early on in the development of mobile, we just threw these complex forms at our users, and we expected that they would pull out their tiny little devices and type in their credit card information, their billing address, and everything else to get their $35 Chromecast. But that's a lot of work, that's a lot of friction. And that's where tools like Google Wallet with Instabuy come in. It's a handy set of APIs. It's very, very easy for any app developer to plug in. So we take those 20 forms, those 20 fields that users have to fill in. And if the user is already a Google Wallet user, well, then it's just 2 clicks. Talk about reducing friction, right? It's tools like Google Wallet Instabuy that have continued to smooth things out, to reduce friction for end users, and have really helped to grow the e-commerce businesses in mobile and in mobile applications. We've talked a lot so far about in-app purchase. Game developers understand how much value is available through in-app purchases. Right? Again, it's often ways to enable users to play the game longer. You've already got engaged users. They will generally do this to download customizations, extra weapons, cars, levels, goodness, all kinds of different things. And there are tools, there are technologies that you can use to show the right in-app purchase to the right user at the right time. And it's critical that you figure out who those users are. Because remember, in many cases, it's fewer than 5% of users who are driving more than 90% of this in-app purchase revenue. Last, but certainly not least, is ads. Ads have been an incredible channel for monetizing apps. AdMob, as an ad network, has grown phenomenally over the last couple of years. We now serve 200 billion impressions a month. We're seen on over 900 million unique devices in over 600,000 apps on iOS and Android. And we've paid out more than $1 billion to our developers in the last couple of years. But it's just the beginning. We're really excited about what we can do with ads in apps. We've seen a lot on the banner side of the world, but we're growing our inventory. We're growing our demand in interstitials as well. These are these full-screen ad units. These full-screen ad units make it much easier for users to understand what is going on, to understand if they interact, what they're going to get. They pre-qualify users much, much more. They are easy to dismiss. They tend to not get in the way and disrupt gameplay, for example, like banners do. And they deliver much, much higher CPMs to developers. So all of you as developers can think more carefully, more consciously about when you show interstitials. And you can reduce the ad load on your end users significantly, driving better user experiences. As we mentioned earlier, video is growing on mobile at very, very fast rates, and it's a great way to monetize. TrueView has been an incredible video ad format for Google and for YouTube. and demand for TrueView has grown significantly over the last 3 or 4 years. We're in the process of bringing TrueView to our mobile app developers. It's an interstitial ad format that puts users in control, because if they choose that the ad is irrelevant for them, after 5 seconds they can skip it and get back to the experience that they're in. But TrueView is great for app developers as well, because it monetizes even more highly than what we're seeing with interstitials. As we continue to roll out TrueView, we think you're all going to be excited about what it can do, not just for your monetization, but what it can do to keep your users engaged and interested in your app. So we've talked a lot about the basics, but what we thought would really help all of you was to see this in action. We're really excited to have a great partner with us here today, PicsArt. And representing PicsArt is Johannes, who's going to talk through what they've done to embrace this mobile app economy and all of the changes that we've seen. Johannes?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Johannes Alferness. I am a CEO and founder of PicsArt. We started PicsArt in November 2011 with a group of 10 people. And 2.5 years later, we have a team of 80 professionals, mostly software developers. So what we do, we start the company with a mission to enable anyone to create extraordinary works of art out of ordinary photos and be discovered to our networks of creatives. Basically, it's a very powerful photo editor integrated with an artistic photo sharing network. And we built a tremendous community. We have about 4.5 star ratings out of 2.5 million people. And the application was installed over 140 million times on different platforms, and mostly Android. We have almost 45 million monthly active users. So we are very proud of our community. Why we are here? Just to tell our monetization story. PicsArt is a free application, and we bootstrapped our business, and we are profitable right now. And we started with advertisement as a single revenue opportunity for us. So, since like a couple of months ago, we started implementing in-app purchase. And in-app purchase becomes very important for us because it's also, it allows to diversify our revenue stream, but also it provides better experience to our premium customers. And now we have about split between in-app purchase and advertisement revenue. Like 20% is coming out of in-app purchase, and it's one of the growing segments for us. We personally believe we can be even more successful. Why? What we need for that? We really need good analytics. We need the analytics which helps us to understand who are our users, what they do with our application, how our application performs. And with all that knowledge, we want to apply different monetization strategies to different kinds of users. And we really hope that partnering with AdMob and with having all these new features will help us to reach the goal. Thank you very much. We're excited to be an AdMob partner. Back to you.
Thank you, Johannes. I think that's a particularly compelling example. But I think what matters to all of you is actually how this happens in practice. What we've provided for tools and technology to make all of this as easy for you as it can be. And for that, I am thrilled to bring up my good friend and colleague, Babak Pahlavan, who leads up our Google Analytics products. He's going to walk you through this in detail. Babak?
All right.
All right,
Thanks,
buddy.
Jonathan. Thank you very much. All right. OK, so good afternoon. We have a lot of folks in the audience, and good afternoon to our folks on live stream. Let's talk about monetization. All right, so as most of you guys know, earlier in the year, we announced the deep integration of Google Analytics with AdMob. Together, the integration between Play, AdMob, and GA, we are offering a unified platform that its job is to focus on optimizing your monetization strategy by really focusing on your users. One unified dashboard inside AdMob that would actually help you to monetize, promote, and analyze. The thing that we're going to talk about today specifically is around how to further apply the same philosophy that we all have by focusing on your users we can build much better apps. That's something that we all understand. If I focus on building apps that are really tailored to my users, the engagement would just go higher. I end up actually building more delightful apps, and everyone is happy. Now, how about applying the same philosophy on our monetization strategy, focusing on your users to better monetize? And specifically, there's a lot of techniques that are happening in the industry. But as we all know, the freemium is on the rise. As Juanas actually mentioned, in-app purchase is becoming the tool of choice to better monetize your products. So in general, for a lot of us, when we talk about monetizing our products, we high-level categorize our users into two buckets. We have sort of casual users that download the products, they use it a little bit. And then you also have then some of these guys that become engaged users. They become your frequent users. So how do we monetize? Normally, a lot of us, we use ad networks, we use AdMob and other places to place an ad in front of our casual users. But for engaged users that are looking for something better, that would actually want something that would enhance the experience, a lot of us use IAP to sell them the next sword, the next eagle, or the next soccer, football, or something, right? But that's a high-level sort of story. And as we look at it, a lot of our highly sophisticated developers, they end up using a lot of the systems that we offer to really tailor their in-app purchase sort of campaigns on users. It's something that it's somewhat difficult to use, and you have to have a lot of developers in-house to be able to pull that off. What we really want to do is to not only make sort of in-app purchase better and more optimized, not just for bigger guys, but for everybody. We want to democratize access to this technology for all. So let's go through an example, and that's how we can actually, so that way I can actually clarify the specific thing that we're launching. So I'm an app developer. I come to my Android's, my AdMob's main homepage. This is the main AdMob home tab, and I can see sort of the lay of the land. I get to see like how much earnings I have, my revenue, conversions, and also sessions and engagements. So we have two demo apps that we're using. These are real apps that we've developed. They're in the Play Store, but we use it for testing a lot. So they're real, but it's as real as you can imagine. So I have two apps here. I have Color Drips and I have GameFangs. They're doing sort of well, but if I look deeper, Color Drips, even though the ads earnings for this one is higher, but the total earnings is a lot less than GameFangs. And I wonder why. I look deeper and I realize that even though I have in-app purchase enabled in both, this one is not doing as well as the other one. I only can see 23 transactions that are happening on Color Drips. And I wonder why. I wonder what's really happening here. So when I look at my app, I have an interstitial ad running here. It's a good-looking ad. There's nothing wrong with it. But the challenge is that all my users see the same ad, right? And the same ad format and everything. And I'm sure the ad network is doing a good job of sort of optimizing this as much as possible. But ultimately, all my users are seeing this one ad campaign for my in-app purchase. Now, I wonder if I can do better. Let's analyze this. So I come back to AdMob. I click on the Analyze tab. And then I come to sort of the audience section and on locations. I want to understand globally what's happening with my users. Where is everybody? As I look at this a little deeper, I noticed that my Brazilian users, they tend to be more engaged with the product and they tend to buy something from this, from my in-app purchase campaign. And that's an immediate insight that I wouldn't have had if I didn't use Google Analytics inside AdMob. So that's one insight that's born. So I can see that Brazilian users are engaged and they tend to buy something. And I wonder if it has something to do with the fact that everyone is in Brazil and they're taking a lot of good photos of the soccer games, or football as we call it. So, but let's see if I can actually build a monetization campaign exclusively focused on these folks. Notice on the left-hand side, there is a new option, a new menu that we're enabling. It's called Audience Builder. If I click on that, my hypothesis is this. If I can actually build a campaign that shows a different IAP sort of ad, in-app purchase ad, to my engaged Brazilian users. If I could do that, my hypothesis is that I'm going to be able to actually earn more money. The sort of the goal that Jonathan was talking about. We all want to earn more money. We want to monetize better, but at the same time, we don't want to sacrifice user experience. When I click on Audience Builder, this brings up GA's powerful segmentation builder. For those of you guys that are GA users on the web, you're familiar with this. But this is now the tailored version of this exclusively on mobile apps. It's incredibly powerful. In fact, this is offering 250 plus dimensions, and you can build 20 combinations of these. So now the math nerd in me wants to know what's that number. What's the permutation count to that? So it turns out it's actually 4 to the power of 47 different permutations you can create. And I've been told that's more than the number of stars that we have in our known universe, or more than the number of sands that we have on planet Earth. But of course, we wanted to give you back the power. The point is, this is an incredibly powerful segmentation builder. I'm going to run through an example of, so you can see like what is it we're talking about. By dimensions, of course, I mean age, location, different behavior metrics such as time on app, language, and yada, yada, yada. So let's go through this. Let's build an audience list. So I come back here, I click on behavior, and when I see that it says session duration, I want to focus on users that are spending at least 10 minutes with my app. So I put down 600 seconds in the session builder, click on save, then I come back to the demographic, then I can see that, oh, there's a location option down there. Then I can just come down and type in Brazil. So Brazil gets typed, and I'll press on save, and as soon as the clicker moves, we're up and running. There we go. So now what I've done is I'm almost there. I've actually created a segment, an audience list that says only focus on users, only find me users that have spent at least 10 minutes with the product and they're coming from Brazil. I'll give it a name. I'll call it Brazil highly engaged users, and off I go. Now I have an audience list. Now I'll come back to my normal business as usual with AdMob, the great promote tab. I click on that, and I can create a new campaign. So I choose my creative elements, and then I come back here. There is a new option that now is getting enabled called audience. So I can click on the audience, and lo and behold, my Brazilian highly engaged users should be there, the audience list that we just created. I add that to my audience list. And notice you can create all kinds of permutations. You can create all kinds of different rules and add different sort of lists under one campaign, or you can create multiple campaigns with multiple lists. The power is in your hand. So I click on save, and I continue. Now, what's really happening here? It used to be that all my users would just see this one interstitial ad, right? Now, users using this new campaign that I'm running, users that are coming from Brazil, but also engaged, they've spent at least 10 minutes with the product, they're going to see something different. They're going to see an IAP campaign that's exclusively focused on them. And just imagine how much more how many different campaigns you can try out, how much power is now back in your guys' hand. And it's not difficult. It's super easy to use. And again, we wanted to make sure that we democratize access to this technology to everybody. So, key takeaways. Google is working on building an integrated cross-platform, highly easy, very easy sort of system to ultimately help you developers to be more successful. We are committed on making you guys more successful. And as we announced earlier in the year, deep integration of GA within AdMob is the first step. We have a lot more work to do, we understand. But we are committing real resources behind this effort. Second takeaway is it's imperative that you spend time understanding your users, not just to tailor your app, but also even your monetization campaigns. It ends up paying off significantly. And third, with Google Analytics inside AdMob, you have an immense amount of power to really understand your users, but now, more and more, take advantage of all the technologies that we're enabling inside GA for apps to really tailor your even monetization campaigns. Make sense? So one last thing I wanted to actually talk to you guys about, if this slide loads. There's a lot that we're doing across Google for mobile apps developers, and we're trying to consolidate the knowledge base for this. We have a MOOC, we have a massive open online course that we offer at Google Analytics. It's going to go live in August. This one is going to be exclusively focused on mobile apps. Make sure you sign up with that. We're going to talk about the best practices, the best strategies that you guys can learn in order to be successful. Last time we ran a MOOC, that was for general GA. We had 135,000 people who signed up and 35,000 graduated. We expect the same sort of turnout for this one as well. And yeah, that's on that. That's the link for this one, analyticsacademy.withgoogle.com. And yeah, so go ahead and, for those who haven't signed up with AdMob, go ahead and sign up with AdMob and you get to have access to all the great stuff that we just talked about over the next couple months. Thank you so much, and that's it. Thank you. And I think we have about 10 minutes for a few questions.
Time for questions, but we're also happy to just take them individually if you guys want to come up front later.
Yeah.
Any questions that you guys want to ask in part of the broader audience?
And also, we're going to have office hours at 3:30, by the way. So to Google Analytics and AdMob, we're going to be on the second floor. We're going to be answering questions one-on-one.
We've got our developers, our teams down there helping you guys. But yeah, go ahead, question. So everything that we talked about today, essentially all of the announcements are things that are either out now. So the AdMob Google Analytics integration, for example, is something that you can go download and play with today, or things that are rolling out in the next quarter.
Specifically the audience builder you're talking about, so that one's going to be available sometime in Q3. Yeah.
Yep. Other questions? Yeah, go ahead. Should the targeting tools be automatic? Do you want to?
Yeah, that's a good question. The question was, shouldn't these things be automatic? Absolutely, we believe in that. So there are two modes to this. One is, we have a lot of developers who actually want to have the control, and they're the ones that they know their users, and they want to segment, they want to build sort of the campaigns that are exclusive that are highly optimized the way they think about it, and they set up the rules, and then the rest of it is automated. However, in fact, on GA, we announced something that we call a smart list. This is for general web remarketing campaigns. That allows you now, we actually pick the right set of users automatically for you. I can imagine that the same sort of technology is going to make its way to app developers as well.
It'll be a blend, right? We will try to do as much of this for you as we can automatically through experiments and testing, et cetera. But you will always be able to find some set of insights that automated machines can't. So we encourage you guys to take a look at the data yourselves and try to ferret out those valuable opportunities too. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, sorry. There's a question at the mic first, and then I'll come back to the gentleman in the hat. So from the mic first.
Are you guys looking at doing anything with native ad formats?
So absolutely. We've been working hard at AdMob across a bunch of our different channels to find the right native solutions to bring to bear. So we're experimenting with a number of different varieties right now to find what works best integrated into apps. I don't have anything for general availability to announce just yet. We can maybe chat briefly after this, but my expectation is in the next quarter or two we'll have a general availability beta. Thank you. It's a good question. Now to the gentleman in the hat, and then I'll come back to the mics. A/B testing in the Play Store.
Yes. So there's a number of efforts on that front. The question was, are we going to enable A/B testing experimentation for apps? In fact, you can do that right now using Google Tag Manager. So if you use GTM for mobile apps, we actually enable you to do A/B testing for mobile apps. Not just on Android, but also on iOS as well. But you're going to see us integrating these things further and further inside the AdMob integration, so it becomes seamless. But so yeah, I know that the Play team is looking at that actually to be able to enable sort of different strategies altogether. So yeah, I mean that you raise a very good point. Like, do I know paid works better, or free works better, or freemium works better, right? So you can imagine that we're working toward enabling you guys to really figure that out. Yeah.
Back to the mic.
Are you guys planning to add more transparency in terms of the search terms, how people are actually discovering your apps on the Play Store? Because right now it's a complete black box. You don't really know whether you get discovered by featuring or by search term, etc.
It's a good question, and you're not alone in asking the question.
I suppose.
So we don't have anything to announce there specifically. I think the thing that is closest is in bringing those insights over to AdWords so that search advertisers can leverage some of the same keywords. So that might be a bit of a round-robin approach to gaining some of those insights. We'll make sure that the Play Store team keeps hearing the feedback and thinks about providing that form of analytics.
Yeah, because it makes sense. Your question makes sense.
Well, it is there on the web for years already.
No, exactly.
I don't really understand why it's not there on the Play
My
Store.
guess is it's nothing more than prioritization and getting it to the top of the stack. So that's why we'll lean on them when we get back to Mountain View.
Right.
Thank you. Other questions?
Go ahead.
Again, sure. Yeah, absolutely. So we have house ad support in AdMob that allows you to take advantage of exactly what you're talking about. If you have a number of apps that you deliver and you have AdMob in all of those apps, you can set up house campaigns to cross-promote to your other apps, and you can actually yield manage then across some of your house campaigns as well as your third-party demand. What we're starting to talk about with Google Analytics integration is that you can do much more sophisticated segmentation and decision engine type logic to figure out who gets what as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's free.
Yeah.
It's your inventory, right? You're just giving up additional monetization opportunities to show your own ad, to show your own cross promotion. Yeah. Yeah. Make sure you stop by the office hours if you'd like, that are starting just in a few minutes. They'll walk you through what you need to do there.
But imagine with this new capability, you can actually now, ultimately, so monetization, we're not concerned about it. We want to create best experience for users. And then if you end up actually promoting different apps to be downloaded using Play Store, so there's monetization for us from that angle. So not necessarily on the ad side. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and look, many of our customers are already doing this, so it's a great thing to take advantage of. Other questions? I see another one at the mic.
So this deep linking solution that was announced, is that specific for Android only, right? It's not available on iOS?
It is currently an Android-only offering. We're looking deeply at what we need to do on the iOS side. I'm going to know this off the top of my head. Yeah, no, it is Android only right now. That's a great question. We'll let you guys know when we have a solution for iOS as well.
But just something to call out actually on this, like our objective is to create the cross-platform solution. We understand that app developers would like to be sort of when you're an app developer, you're on all the different platforms, right? So you're not Android exclusive a lot of times. A lot of time, because it's Google, we have a lot more access, we have a lot more freedom, we have a lot more acceleration that we can deploy. But then we're always interested to work with other platforms. Because we believe that's the only way you guys can be successful altogether.
We're running low on time. Why don't we wrap up? If you guys have additional questions, you'll find us up front. Thank you guys again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.